That's my epic tale. A champion prevailed, defeated the villain. Now pour him some mail. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty. Oh, toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty. Oh, toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty. Toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty, oh valley of plenty. Oh, toss a coin to your witcher, oh valley of plenty.
Well, hello everybody, and welcome once again to another Wild Wednesday here on Tales from the Grim as we play a little bit of our Talsorian games, The Witcher. I have been looking forward to this. I'm a little under the weather, so I'm sorry if I sound like I'm coming to you from the bottom of a half-filled bucket, but this is the very best medicine for both soul and body because I am surrounded by some of the very best players to ever grace this or any other continent. So before we continue into this epic tale, I would like to tell you a couple things about what you can expect. One, you are the Legion. If you are watching this on VOD or YouTube, if you are taking your time out of your day to spend some time with us and listen to a tale, then you are of course part of it. If you are watching live as you are right now, you can help in the easiest possible way by retweeting our going live tweet. It's in chat right now. If you do so, when we reach thresholds of 20, 30, and the mythical 40 retweets, the PCs will benefit. The story will become not necessarily easier for them, but any challenges they face will also have boons provided. And so with that going forward, Legion, you may help. Now, if you want to take a direct control of the tale, if you want to make it more challenging or you want to make it easier for the players, then if you're watching on Twitch, look straight down and you can see that there are some donations that you can use and donate to affect the game. Everything is there, from giving additional HP via a potion of swallow to making things more difficult, winds howling, or making things easier. How do you like that silver? Or, if you would like to join our tale, as we have two Legionnaires that will be joining us very, very soon, in both Matt and Hawk, there is one spot left for this season if you would like to become one of the players, one of the adventurers in this party for an episode, and your own solo flashback that goes into the direct narrative that is this season of Family of Wraiths. And so that is why we're here. Tell a tale collectively with the Legion, myself, and the players acting as pillars for a story support. But how can we be here? We have fantastic sponsors, both in our Talsorian Games, who is giving away a PDF copy of the very own core rulebook for The Witcher. And I'm going to go in here right now and start up this. Let me get it fired up for y'all. And there we go. The giveaway should pop up in a second. There we are. So please enter, everybody. If you have a chance, exclamation point PDF is all it takes. We will contact you at the end of the show and make sure that you get your copy of our Talsorian Games Witcher Core Rulebook. It is fantastic. It is updated. It has all the new changes that are placed inside of it. And it enables you to have your party go forth into the continent that is the dark and dreary world of The Witcher, but bring light when you go. Now, the other reason why we can be here, our fantastic sponsors in Roll20, our virtual tabletop of choice. We are using Roll20. We will be using the maps and the battle maps throughout the points of this campaign. But more importantly, you can use Roll20. Go to www.roll20.net/start/Tales from the Grim. Start your own free account. If your party is scattered because of work, school, or other reasons, bring them back to the virtual table. You can sit around again, play The Witcher, D&D, Call of Cthulhu. They are all there. Sit down, tell your tales. It is the best possible thing you can do with friends. And so, my friends in the Legion, my players that are listening, we are investigating a murder. A witcher known as Ezekon of Kreve was murdered. Those closest to him were summoned to put him to rest and farewell him with fire. And so they did. And since that point, as they began sharing stories, they realized that their connection did not end with Ezekon of Kreve. In fact, many of their own tales individually spun and adventures challenged and conquered on their own overlapped with one another, at least a bit, especially where Ezekon was concerned and consumed. But that's then. Right now, they have a name, Kel Hollow, a wizard, a sorceress, who wrote the name Ezekon of Kreve on a death warrant. They need answers for that. Answers that can be found in the city of Ardgenval. And they are on their way. And so, my friends, without any further sick ramblings from your game master, we will go to the party. They will reintroduce themselves, and we will get back into the world of the Witcher, family of Wraiths. My friends, welcome back. Welcome into the world that you have helped create along with the Legion and myself. So, I will ask quickly, you're on your way. You have healed up the appropriate amount of hit points that you are allowed to heal up. But as you are traveling, it is the second day. You have another night, and then tomorrow you should be reaching the city. But as you are all riding, you've come out of the mountains. You are in the low foothills. The grasses still wave. It is getting cooler out, but not so much as it's a chill or there's snow blowing. But it is past harvest time. Yet, here in nature, it always seems to hold the hue of gold a little bit longer. And as you pass through these rolling hills and these fields, you have but yourselves to share the time with. If there's anything you would like to share or like to speak on, you may do so now. Sphinx, and earlier, Katrina, thank you very, very much. We will make sure that the players get that. Everyone, you just got, how do you like that silver, from Sphinx. So make sure all of your rolls have a +2. And you're riding, my friends, in silence or in conversation.
To clarify, when we last left our merry band in a sort of happy space where we were singing and joy and flowers, we had come across the dead body of a botchling and no ring, no wedding ring.
That is correct. That is correct. Whenever you, after the events of last episode, the botchling ran off with your wedding ring that was to help put your wraith-formed wife to rest. The ring was not recovered. The body of the botchling was found. And unbeknownst to the players, but known to the Legion, Gaunter O'Dim seems to be in possession of the ring, if our last view of the episode is to be believed.
So, with that knowledge, on the way towards Aidglenball, Ezrin would say, Mistress Baron, without my wedding ring, are we certain that my wife's spirit will be reformed?
I mean, that's more a question for the Witchers, isn't it? But yes, as far as I'm aware, eventually she'll come back.
And there is no way, short of this ring, to prevent that from happening?
Not ones that anyone would really like.
That is unfortunate. Perchance, wouldst thou be able to spy on this ring, that we might know its location?
It's possible, aye. I don't recommend doing it in a saddle, but it's possible.
Of course. I would hope to put my wife's spirit to rest. And yes, the estate as well.
Well then, when we rest, I'll look for it. Can't guarantee I'll find it, but I'll look for it.
Thy aid is much appreciated.
You're welcome, Your Highness.
Well, at the very least, we do have the pendant that will show Kelhallo that I am who I claim to be.
Or at least that you look like who you claim to be and you have the property that you claim. That can bank the claim.
Aye. That is well noted.
You might want to think about things that only you would know. Because looking like someone isn't very hard.
Indeed, indeed. And he sort of says this to the whole group. It is my sorrow that I could not welcome you to a more hospitable home. But I thank you for accompanying me and aiding me as you all have.
Yeah, well, I feel we're all going in the same direction, right? Learning things as we go.
I have misgivings about going to see the woman who signed the death warrant of Ezekon of Kreve.
Perhaps she did not. Perhaps it was forged, or perhaps there is some other reasoning that we do not yet know.
Well, I'd rather be sure before we go in there and into her keep, surrounded by her soldiers. And how do you know her feelings about you have not changed over 200 years?
Aye, it seems but yesterday for me. Or last week. But the Kelhallo I knew was a good woman and honorable and fair. So she could not have changed so much in 200 years. And he says that with it has been 200 years.
Well, there's something you should know. Ezekon wasn't the first Griffin Witcher to be murdered. There were others. And there's an entire college as well. So you may deduce from that the Griffin Witchers are hunted. And so, like I said, I have misgivings about going over there.
Wherefore are the Griffin Witchers hunted? Is this more to do with this mutation nonsense? This turn in public sentiment?
Possibly, but it's more a turn in the sentiment of mages and what they covet.
And let's not act like griffins are the only branch of witches that got slaughtered.
I'm not acting like that. I'm just telling you I may be the only one left.
Oh, Master Dusa, I am so sorry.
It's okay. I'm retired.
You and I both know there's really no retiring.
You can choose to hunt monsters, or you can choose to hunt more simple things.
Oh, so that wraith back there, just a simple thing?
No, that's an exception.
Well, you can either get paid for these exceptions, or you can do it, how do they say, pro bono.
It was the mother of a friend.
Are the Witchers so few in this time?
These are the first witches I came across since Ezekon. And that's been 5 years.
Are they training more?
Witchers are not wanted anymore, Ezrin. Prince Ezrin.
The common folk fear war more than they fear monsters.
But what of the monsters that roam the land?
Which monsters?
All of the monsters. There's so many.
The kings? Or the ones roaming the woods?
The ones roaming the woods.
They've mostly been slain. A lot of witchers out for coin. For 200 years, that's what happens. They say they're coming back, though.
Who says that?
People.
I'd like to speak to these people.
They say the monsters are coming back. Not the witchers.
Well, when you take out the wolves, the rabbits flourish.
That's right.
Then their needs must be more wolves.
Yeah, well, 2 wolves fucking is easier than making a witcher.
Aye, but it can be done.
Not really.
It's easier for 10 people to gang up and kill a monster themselves.
Also way more hilarious.
This is why thou art valuable and rare, Master Wim.
You say 200 years, eh? Well, I've heard a phrase tossed about time healing all wounds. And he looks gently over at Aris. There may be some merit to that.
Aye.
Or there's the other opinion,
What's that?
that being allowed to linger in sorrow just makes the pain worse.
Good gentles, I hear Master Deuce's hesitation on just speaking to Kelhallo with no more information. What say y'all? How should we approach?
Do you want them to get arrested and dead, or do you just want to talk to someone?
I wish no arrest and death.
You'll notice something else that kind of stands out, aside from that the very fine gentlemen are very good at their jobs. Of the 5 of us, Your Highness, only you speak natively.
I've been
And-
in the north for over 60 years.
Yes, and the Nilfgaard Republic is a republic no longer, I have been told.
No, it's an empire, reaching further and further. And the war comes back, a second and a third time.
I suggest we make our way in there during the night. And you can, Ezrin, perhaps you can send her a message and meet her somewhere.
Would that not be unwise for her to venture out upon her own?
It'd be a lot wiser than 3 witchers showing up in her keep.
With Dusa on that.
And she's not a maiden to be protected, Your Highness.
No.
If she wants to leave, she can leave anytime she wants.
I just try to imagine how I would feel were I to receive a message, a missive, from someone claiming to be from my past and wanting to meet somewhere less protected.
Either she'll be curious to see how you actually survived, or she'll be angry enough at who's ever impersonating you to come and kill them herself.
Well, Ezrin, if I may ask, is there something you could write in this letter that only she would know about?
Aye.
Then without question, she will risk it. Can't imagine being alive for over 200 years is exciting. She's probably looking for a thrill.
Then where should we ask to meet her?
We scout around the area, somewhere not too far.
If we could do it outside the city, that's even better. As far as I'm concerned.
Cave, some foothills.
And in Ezrin's mind, he's only thinking of the place where Ezekon was murdered outside of the city, but that is not a place that he would recommend for many reasons. But when he thinks of places outside of the city, that is the only place he can think of, and that place haunts his mind as they ride.
Ezrin, I would remind you that you do know of another place that's outside the city.
I do, but I wouldn't want any harm to come to her. That could be bad. He's wanting a safe place that would not bring harm to anyone.
Oh, okay.
Right. You know, a safe place, not one where people that you care about might be hanging out.
I get you. Okay. As you're all riding, please roll me an awareness check and make sure you put in your +2. Or how do you like that silver?
All right.
That's a crit with a
Oh, boy.
33.
Okay, hold on.
7.
We'll give it to the winner with the 33. I don't see anything higher, I don't think. Yeah, 5 for Ezrin. So with
5.
with that swing there from 5 to 33, it is the sorceress who sees a party riding not on the opposite side of the road, but through those fields of naturally growing grasses and grains out here leading from the mountains into the foothills. They are riding forward, and as they ride forward, since you rolled a crit, I will let you know that they seem to be holding a flag, and it is unfurled with the colors, if not the exact hue of the nation, but of a dukedom of Sidaris.
Looks like we're about to have company. They're a little far north for where they're supposed to be.
And they're riding towards us?
Yeah. A bunch of folk from Sidaris. That's interesting.
What's Sidaris like?
At
Do you
least,
like-
what is Sidaris like now? He says with that sort of the wry smile, because, you know.
Fish, not Nilfgaardian, not really northern either. Independent.
That is the best possible explanation of Sidaris ever. Fish, not Nilfgaardian, not really northern either. That's it. That's exactly it.
And as you're talking, Juice draws his bow and half knocks an arrow. What are the people like?
Are they?
Haven't been there myself. Supposedly nice.
The people approaching us, are they soldiers? What does the party composition look like? And do they seem to be aiming directly for us with a purpose? Or, you know, there's a difference between, oh, there are people, let's see them, and we have been searching for you, and we have found you in the middle of nowhere. Those are two super different things, one of which makes me more concerned than the other. I'm just asking.
You see that there are, in fact, there's a half dozen armored troops. And there's one person out front that looks to be either, and really, Ezrin, this isn't you because you rolled a 5, but everybody else sees this. They see soldiers, and somebody out front that looks
Pointing
more like looks more like a statesman or a perhaps a herald of some kind.
Mm.
Not wearing armor, but wearing the same colors as like the same livery as the knights are wearing and the flag is carrying.
I mean, they are a little far from home. Kind of surprised they're here.
Nope. Let's try not to engage.
Just not piss them off. But they seem to be on their way here. I operate on the I'll be polite, and then if they decide to not be polite, I'll let the people with stabby things do more damage.
It's not about you.
I know.
Maybe we
It
could
never is.
parley with them at a distance.
Let's not do that. Listen. Ezekon and I, they've tried to kill me more than once.
Sidaris tried to kill you in Ezekon?
There's some petty limp dick dude. Curses and mermaids and shit.
The
He's got
Duke
an
of
ego on him.
the Duke of Sidaris tried to kill you in Ezekon.
Just me.
Oh, okay. That makes slightly more sense.
Pray tell,
Apparently I hurt
wherefore?
his feelings. Where?
Wherefore? What had transpired?
At this point, they're riding out of the grass. They've come out about 100 yards down the road from you, and they're turning around, and all of them have piked up their standard in a sign of wanting to talk or parley, and the herald is riding ahead about 3 horse lengths from the host. They'll be here in moments.
I will ride out to intercept and just ride out to greet them.
Varan would kind of follow Aris,
As
politely at a distance, but still within hearing shot.
as would Ezrin. Considering some people are probably better at talking than witchers. Just, just noting it. But following along.
I'm gonna follow suit because, listen, I've been pulled over by a cop before, and you just head on. Just hit it head on. Don't be suspicious.
That's it. You're like, what? Who? There are a lot of people who look like me. How do you know it's me? I could be someone else.
1, 2, 3, 4, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Fine. Just look normal.
Right, ride casual. Thanks, Matt.
I'll go.
So as you all ride forward, then you see that whatever the herald or whoever is riding out front meets you first and pulls up whenever you all are about 4 or 5 horse lengths away, but well within earshot. And he turns the horse sideways, not to block the path, but to kind of expose his entire side, giving you a shot, making sure that you know this is for peace and not a charge. It's all the bells and whistles that usually goes into just, hey, we want to talk. And he says, "My name is Robert of Sidaris. I'm here on the behalf of my Duke, Agloval. Who among you is Wim of Gesso?"
Oh boy. That's me. What can I do you for?
Master Witcher, I come bearing a proposition from my Duke.
Go on.
The Duke is dying. He wishes for you to travel to Sidaris to speak on his behalf to his beloved. Perhaps she will deem him worthy of one last conversation before he passes. For this, he will reward you with one of his family's relics, one of your choosing. He begs it.
Another dying man.
Has Aglaval informed you of everything he's tried to do to me?
He has. He has asked me to convey his apologies and try to tell you that it was passions of the heart, but I know that words cannot mend actions. So I stand in his stead to accept any retribution. The soldiers will not stop you. I am the messenger. I am his nephew.
Hmm.
You're his whipping boy.
Perhaps.
Good herald. Might I ask, how didst thou find us out here in the wilds?
We were told that you would be approaching from this direction.
By whom?
A pair of elves. And he looks at Wim.
You come with armed men to ask me a favor.
They were just to protect me to get to you. Not for conflict.
How much does this mean to you?
My uncle is a hard man. He is cruel. But this is his last wish. I get the throne regardless.
Unless, of course, dear Master Wim over here decides to take personal insult at your uncle's actions and end your life. Are you sure your uncle didn't send you out here to die?
I'm pretty sure he knew the risks, and he was happy with them.
You, okay if we have a little chat about this? You weigh it over there with the rest of your men.
Of course, we will pull away to the hill. It's a good half-mile off.
Good herald, who were these elves?
I know them not individually. They call themselves the Sinblings.
Any kind of check I can make to see if we've ever heard the name before? Or?
Absolutely. Tell me what you'd like to roll. You can roll your Witcher training if you'd like. This is definitely something. I will even take monster lore just because of, and I will also take your speciality as well, Veron.
I suspect these are the two that Wim told us about, the two twins in the Blue Mountains.
They are. What of Sha'ina's? Have you heard word from her? You even know she's still alive?
She is. I've spoken to her. She wants nothing to do with my uncle. He believes that you can convince her to speak to him, but she seems resolute. She's forgotten him.
It's a 24.
The name of the Sinblings is not well known at all, but there are whispers that this pair of elves, possibly twins, are the greatest creators of curses in the known continent. But no one's really ever spoken to them before.
While we talk about this, I want you to think of something you can do for collateral. Because 60% of me thinks I'm walking into a trap.
I can assure you, you are not. But what do you suggest, Master Witcher?
I'm not sure what went wrong.
I have an idea. But we'll talk about it after we can have a conversation of ourselves.
And Herald, what is the timeline for this? How much time does His Grace have?
He is old. He could be gone already, but he's stubborn. I suspect there's time. But weeks, not months.
Would it not be in your favor for us to just go back to the dukedom of Sidaris and kill him so you can get the throne?
Master Witcher, I can't say that regicide is a course of action, but I can say that regardless of what happens, either by nature or by sword, I will be the Duke.
All right. Just wanted to see how susceptible you were.
Go on, piss off. We'll talk to you in a minute.
You can see the...
And Ezrin tries to make a polite nod so that, like, somebody's being polite to the guy, so he's not, you know, he doesn't say anything, but he tries with good courtly graces to not seem, you know, like an asshole to this guy.
Right. Let's roll an anti-asshole. No. Figure out, what would you like to roll here?
Social etiquette?
Yeah, social etiquette
Yeah.
would be real nice right here.
Yeah, I will roll social etiquette. You know, we this is a noble. We want this to not be the worst ever, because it's nice to make friends. 24.
So how do you do it? You get his attention. You're able to kind of convey that there is a measure to the madness that's going on here. It's not deliberately gruff for gruff's sake, but how does Ezrin do that?
As you know, he says basically, Era says "fuck off," right? And they're gonna the group, I imagine, is turning to go and have their powwow, their sort of conversation a little bit to the side. And what Ezrin will do is he will make the turn. He will turn his horse to ride with the rest of the group away, but he'll do it in a bit of a slightly dressage sort of a way, and have both himself and his horse give a bit of a bow and give a nod. So he doesn't say anything, but he gives the nod of respect that comes from one who a kind of a nod of respect that nobility would understand, if that makes sense.
Absolutely. And when you do so, and you kind of, allow your horse to kind of become an extension of you, when the kneel is given, or the slight bow, you notice that Robert, his eyes travel to your scabbard and the hilt that is popping out of it. And for a moment, his eyes, they don't narrow in greed or anything negative, but it's a narrow in... He has a question that he can't answer right away, and just nods politely, a bit of the rigidness of the insult kind of leaving him, and he turns and takes his men a good half mile up the road in the direction that you are going, up a hill, and they all kind of circle around, and you see the horses start to graze.
Well, I think Master Wim's troubles have given us the answer to one of our problems.
Oh, so?
I mean, it'd be very easy to ask that young man to go into the city of Adganvel by himself and inform good Lady Hallow that there's someone who wishes to speak with her outside of the city.
Coming from a noble, the one of noble blood, that would be quite convincing.
And if you happen to say, give her some letter or details. Also, it would prevent the minor problem of 4 Nilfgaardians from walking into a northern city at the moment.
Well thought, Lady Varan.
Out of curiosity, Wim, did you sleep with his wife?
Is that where you think these scars came from?
Probably not, but I can't think of any reason for a man to hate you that much. You're such a personable fella.
I denied him what he wanted most. And when I exposed the fact that he was a fucking asshole, he tried to kill me several times.
Pray tell, what was it that he wanted most?
A mermaid. He spent all his time frolicking around with a mermaid, right? Clear. And it panned out that he was the one who laid a curse on her, so it could appear that she had legs. As Ezekon and I investigated this, we found that he was the one that laid the curse, and once we broke it, chaos ensued.
And what happened to the maid?
Apparently she's still alive. I've got to go talk to her, convince her to have one last conversation with that old wrinkly fuck.
I mean, all they promised to do was to go and have a conversation with her. There's nothing in that request that you actually succeeded. Or at least not to my ears.
So, you're suggesting I do this, right? I just want to make it clear from the group.
Before go that far, you take a pretty serious hit to the head back there, Wim. Right. So maybe, whilst openly being seen as a witcher, don't suggest regicide, considering recent events. Just a momentary flash of genius for you there. Truly staggering.
Blow it out your ass, Oris.
Might I, perchance, raise the more pressing, at least to my mind, thought, does it not strike anyone in this group else worrisome that these two elven sisters know that we are approaching and where we might be found?
If I could do it, they could do it.
Exactly. It's hydromancy, most likely. Either that or they have something of whims, considering he's acquainted with them. Look, I don't know the half of what you got yourself into, but Sintra's
Solved the problem and I created more problems is what happened.
well, Sintra's on the coast.
Not Sintra, Sidaris, darling.
Did you take a hit to the head, Horace?
Okay. Sidaris is on the coast.
Yes.
There may be cause that in the future we're going to need a boat. And they would have boats. And I lost my last one.
And if we do a fine favor for this young princeling who looks like he might be possibly inheriting a throne in the near future, then he might do a favor for us.
Yeah.
Why would we be needing a boat?
Yes, that's a very good question. Maybe there's something you'd like to share with us.
The last inkling of an idea that Ezekon had about who it was who was pulling the strings behind the scenes, I have cause to believe that they are somewhere near the coast.
Do we have a name?
No.
A description?
No.
Did he tell you anything?
He didn't.
Well, the coast is a big place,
It is a big place.
so
There is something else, though.
Yes.
Dusa, you've travelled. In fact, Wim, you've travelled. And you know some of the coastline. Either of you know of any sources of power along there? Places of power?
Why are you looking for those?
Because it's connected to Ezekon's death.
anything else?
Nothing solid.
Well, it all sounds very abstract to me.
It does, but how many places of power are there?
Not
And
as
I
many.
mean,
I'm not going to go
True.
looking for a place of power unless I know why.
Ezekon was searching for someone who was using a place of power somewhere in the north.
Why?
They weren't exactly using it for the best of reasons, shall we say.
Excuse me a moment. And Varan walks off, and you just see her hands start to freeze out, and she, like, shoots ice into the ground, and then just stands there.
Hit a nerve.
The first time she does that.
Mistress Varan?
I have a very particular individual that I have to kill. I'm looking forward to it now.
And why exactly are you looking to kill them?
Aside from
What
the
does
fact
this have to do with what I'm talking?
because he found it.
Found what?
That place of power he was looking for.
You got a name?
I was a mite busy at the time.
Some context, then. Anything at all.
Anything at all. Not far from here, in the mountains, high, where 4 witchers and a sorcerer shot Ezekon of Kreve. And me. And I took his head. So like I said,
Like you said.
I have a list and a reason to kill him.
Okay, you just told me you took his head, so you haven't killed him.
Well,
So
I
you
killed
also
one of
have-
them.
I need to know who it is who's looking for this place of power.
I have no bloody idea. All I know that Ezekon has found it. Actually, I could rephrase that. I can tell you that he plays with fire.
So we're
Perchance this is a question made of ignorance, but it is my understanding from what we have said that there are few witchers left in the world, and that Master Wim says that these are some of the first that he has seen in a long time. And if so many witchers are dead, might we be able to deduce who these 4 witchers and a sorcerer might be from who might be left? Would there be factions, or might politics help us narrow down who the suspects might be?
The only people who that a general population would accuse, I do not. It's stupidity to make that accusation, and I've never made that mistake.
Right now, our best lead is inside that town.
So I return to the point. We asked the young lordling to go ask Kel Hello to come out, and we promised to make our way to Sidaris at an appropriate time so that Wim can possibly have a conversation with a mermaid in Sidaris.
Isrin, how do I apologize for proposing regicide?
Master Wim, proposing regicide is never really polite, especially in mixed company. But I feel you covered somewhat well with the "I was just checking" tack. I think good manners here on out and a sense of honorable dealings will go well to assuage his concerns.
I feel like what you just told me was to say as little as possible.
When in doubt,
He furrows his brow and looks right at ours and mutters some shit under his breath.
Mistress Veron, do you know of this place of power?
Yes.
do you know where it is?
Sort of.
Mistress Veron, do you know of a second place of power?
You'll have to be a little more specific. There are a number that I am aware of. Eratusa sits on one. Ben Ard sits on another.
No, I meant here in the north, in this area.
You mean where Ezekon died?
Yes, a different one.
Different than the one Ezekon died at?
Yes.
Maybe.
Because... Please note, my memories of this time are difficult, as if under a fog, but in that place of power, I did not know that was what it was where he died. He told me that this was not the place, that it was the other place that would be needed to remove my curse.
Then where you saw him and where I saw him are different.
I saw him where he died.
No, you didn't.
Mistress Varan, I did. Unless he was able to transport himself great distances in a mere few moments.
Ezron, was he actively bleeding when you saw him?
Those who were come to murder him had arrived.
Was he actively bleeding when you saw him?
No, but
then you didn't see where he died. Trust me.
Mistress Varan, those who had come to murder him were there at that moment when he sent me away.
Yes, he sent you away because you would be in the way. Ezekon of Kreve is many things, Ezran. A weak combatant is not one of them.
This I know. My point, Mrs. Varan, is that I do not think that he was in the other place of power, sent me away, then somehow he was in the same place of power that you were. It seems to me we were both in the same place, but I was sent off before you arrived.
He could have gone many distance in any amount of time. It's
and
what
then
matures
we're upon
do.
him.
Okay.
Why?
Ezran, how about you just describe the last place you saw him? And then, Baron, how about you tell us if that's the same place? Because we're going around in circles here.
Lord Eris, I will describe in all the detail I can remember the place where I last saw him, where he sent me away. So the clearing, the sort of the space there it was, but I will rely on our intrepid game master for that.
And your game master will simply say, as Ezran is explaining it, it is the exact spot.
That concerns Varan severely. Because...
I was going to say, however, with the time as everything has been said here, Ezran, it's very foggy for you, but... Oh boy. Katrina. Ezran, you were sent away before any combat had began.
That's right.
Yeah, so... not to spoil anything that had happened before, Varan might have been in an area or a moment in time after that.
Yeah, that's what it seemed like to him, that Ezra was like, people are coming, you've got to go. So he leaves, then people come, and in his mind, then it seems as if Varan shows up afterwards.
Quite the conversation. How about we call that boy over and send him to deliver our message?
And he can even offer to be to remain at the meet for safety's purposes. I think perhaps that might make Mistress Kelhallow feel better, safer.
Well, can we iron out the details after, or maybe on the way to Sidaris?
Yes.
I'll wave to the boy.
Well, hold on. Just to be clear, we want a fucking boat. And we want him to send a letter to Kelhallow.
Yeah, he's okay. I'm just calling him over.
Just those two things.
And act as her safeguard while she's here.
And there's kind of two right there.
Yeah.
He's acting as our intermediary.
Exactly.
And maybe some fucking gold. Makes sense. Let's toss that in there.
Bring back some wine as well.
Okay, too much.
I mean,
That was a joke, Deucer. Ha ha ha. I can
wine
laugh.
is never too much, Wim.
All right. Some spirits, perhaps. Come on, boy.
And as Robert turns his horse and rides down, followed a respectable distance by the soldiers, I will take this moment as your benevolent game master to say that here live on Twitch, Katrina has just donated for the arrival of Letho the Kingslayer. It is a special quest that will be bequeathed to our PCs. It is very much in the Godfather vein of quests, as this is going to be an offer that none shall be able to refuse. But this will be activated within the next session. So prepare for that, my friends. It is a separate quest that will arrive courtesy of the Legion, specifically the Legionnaire Katrina, who will be helping me figure out exactly how Letho is going to act. So we will get together conspiratorially and figure out exactly what the motivations are for the Kingslayer. And so prepare yourselves for that little bit of fun. Yep. You all asked for this, you monsters. Oh, yes, you did. I'm feeling better already. All right, let's do this. So, as Robert rides up, he again pulls sideways, so to expose his entire flank to you all in the sign of parley.
While this is happening, Ezrin is in this sort of transition moment as Ezrin is taken out a fairly nice sort of sheaf of paper because he writes, and he's writing a missive.
Hey, we've got a couple of conditions we hope you'll be okay with.
As long as one of them isn't killing me, I should be fine with them.
You're in luck.
Yes, I am.
A boat.
Okay.
Decent sized boat. Fit all of us and some horses. Maybe some fish.
Okay.
2, you do us a favor in return by writing a letter.
And Ezrin is writing the letter right now. Delivery, more so, Your Grace.
Don't call me Your Grace.
I was speaking to the Duke-to-be.
All right. Man, fuck. Deucer, what was the third thing?
Wine.
Your Grace, we asked if you might deliver a missive for us to Mistress Kelhalo, the Magus Regional of the North. We wish to parley with her, and outside of the city for the safety of us both, and that perhaps you would be willing to stand as intermediary and safety for this meeting.
Of course. What is your time frame on this? As soon as possible. We are a day's ride from...
Indeed.
Very well.
Let's say, let's shoot out there, 1,000 crowns.
I can do that, yes.
All right. Do we follow you, or can we get there on our good own time?
Do you wish me to take a letter now to
Right now.
Magus Regional? Then I can ride ahead. I will not trouble you with my presence. And I can meet you wherever you wish after I've delivered the message. I cannot promise that the Magus will follow me, but I can deliver your message.
Yeah. She should give you a message back.
Very well.
And Ezra is quickly writing.
I will enter from the west gate. I will leave from the west gate and ride until I see you.
And I will ask GM, do I know of a place in this area that would be a good neutral meeting space? Since I do know the area somewhat in a slightly monstrous way, but I feel like I might know perhaps a neutral meeting spot.
I tell you what. Give me something to roll.
Wilderness survival?
That would have been whenever you were hunting. How about
Yes.
how about like a human perception here? That is also for the geography and collection of the humanoid species. So let's go ahead and do that and see if you can.
19.
You're pretty sure on the western side of the city that there is a spot where caravans will stop and kind of collect and muster before leaving for points west, for points over in Hangforth's League and Kovir and Povis, to go across the Kestrels. It's not used an awful lot because normally people don't like to muster, wait a day, and then leave. They just leave. But it's still there and it's broad and flat. It's used for the fair as well for the area. It's a large, flat field relatively close to the city.
Your Grace, there is a caravan muster spot to the west of the city, and we would muster there to meet with the Magus Regional. I shall put these instructions in this letter, this missive that I write, and perchance that is where you might escort her, if she is willing to come.
Very well.
Writing quickly, but again, with very curly handwriting, trying to get this letter done as quickly as possible. And then fold it, wax, and then he will seal it with the pommel of the sword.
Okay. Again, the revealing of the pommel of the sword draws the eyes of Robert for a moment. Again, that ghost expression of confusion goes across his face, but he shakes it off. His gaze lingers a bit on you, Ezran, and then he takes it. I will ride in and see what she says, and then I will ride back out to the field. Again, if she gives me something, I will return it with it. If she does not, I will make sure your message gets to her, though. That I swear.
Your Grace, I thank you deeply for this, and please note, it is always good to have allies.
And Duso will step forward towards the boy, and look at him straight in the eye and say, remember to be discreet. Nobody should know about this. No one at all except the person you're delivering the message to.
Roll a persuasion, intimidation, however you'd like to get your point across. I take no agency.
Well, I don't have much empathy to go for, but I'll try to be persuasive.
I think intimidation is will.
Oh, okay, well that's better. Sorry, I'm gonna do that instead. That's better for me. Here we go. Done. That's a 12. Yeah.
He nods respectfully, understands the weight of your words, but whether or not he is swayed by them or afeared of them, it doesn't seem. Again, you remember that he has grown up with a cruel, wicked uncle, and you think that the sting of words is something that his flesh has felt since a young age.
Right.
And quick question, how old does Robert appear?
Robert looks like he's right around 30, maybe.
And did you say son? Grandson?
Nephew. He's the nephew.
Okay.
So he will take it, and without any other instructions for him, he will ride off towards the city. He rides at best possible speed. You see that he takes to his very fine horse at a gallop, and he maintains that speed like a courier born. As he passes through his soldiers, they appear elite and they act elite as they spin and kind of heel their horses around. And again, no one asks a question, at least not one that reaches your ears, as they too lurch into a gallop beneath their war horses beneath them, and off they speed. But you all are a good night and day away. They probably will have to ride through the night to get there even mid-morning.
I think we head towards the caravan muster spot outside of Eglin Ball.
You can get most of the way there. You realize you're going to have a couple hours of travel, but the sun goes down, and as it does, travel at night is never really something you want to do in any part of this world. But this is the fields, and not necessarily the lowlands, because you still have some hills around here, but you may find a camp and make it as night claims the continent.
Right.
So we make camp.
So we'll gather firewood.
And here's a question that I ask, just out of curiosity. But when you all are getting ready to go to sleep in your tents and things of that nature, do you all wear your armor while you're sleeping? I'm just totally curious about that. Just
No, you can't sleep well if you're sleeping in armor.
right? That's what I would think.
And one thing you've noticed about Dusa is that he does not sleep. He enters some kind of trance at night, and remains vigilant. And the next day he's rested. So he'll gladly stand watch.
What armor?
Right. Just checking. I mean, speaking from somebody, and again, the 9-year-old me would be punching a fist into the air right now. I can speak as somebody that has worn armor for quite a long time, and it's not comfy. So, just curious as to if you could sleep in it.
But the bear armor has memory foam on the inside.
Oh, nice.
Does it?
Yeah.
Does it?
New age.
B-A-R-E, right.
Oh, the marketing for that bear armor. It's like you're wearing nothing at all.
Right.
But no, Wim is like an outcast, stays by himself, so he has no concern for smells. Doesn't move that much when he sleeps. So props himself up against the tree and just puts his head in his hands with his armor on.
Yeah, Dusa will climb up the tree and draw with his bow and keep an eye. In a trance.
Okay, then everybody roll me an awareness. This one would be at a -2, but because you have a +2 because of how do you like that silver, it's a regular roll.
Critical.
13.
Let me see. Critical.
My roll seems to be going only to the GM.
I got a 30.
I can see them, but I don't know why that's happening.
There's a button at the top on the left.
Right. It keeps. I turn it off, and it keeps switching to. No, it's not too many E's. There we are. Let me see. Gotcha.
God, this noble. His rolls are too good for us common folk.
All right.
That's what you have servants for, to help you roll the dice. I'm just saying.
You let someone else touch your dice?
That would be bad. That's why it was like the whole family was murdered, because you had somebody else touch your dice, and that was like, just never do that. I learned.
All right, so as everybody goes to sleep, whether just laying on the outside, in a tent, with Dusa in a tree, meditating and collecting the area, still very aware of what's going on, the night falls. Rest is taken. Dusa, you hear something. Very slight, very subtle sound. A deliberately padded and light foot. And as you cock your head around, coming out of your trance, your senses if they were at a 50, now again at 100, you see creeping off into the night, Aris.
What direction is he going in?
For his horse, and he will not mount up. He takes the reins of his horse very quietly and begins to lead his horse away.
All right, I'll let him go a bit and grab my horse and cut him off.
Do you let him out of eyesight?
I'm gonna I'm gonna wait until he has some kind of stretch. I'm gonna circle around him at a gallop.
I want another stealth roll from Aris and another awareness roll from... Again, these would be... the stealth is not, but the awareness would be at a -2, but because of the +2, it's a straight roll.
All right. It's an 18.
Dusa, you circle around, fully expecting to cut off Aris as he and the horse with no name should be coming right through this area. Your intercept course, you've hunted prey before. You know whenever a flight is taken, that seldom is a zig where a zag should be. But when you make your move and hit into the small break in the hill, you're only met with moonlight.
Double back. Check for tracks.
To clarify, Greg, I'm riding pretty hard, so
Right.
Like, I imagine I'm definitely leaving tracks that a seasoned hunter could find.
Right. With your awareness roll, it takes you a bit, and you're able to discern where that zag occurred when you thought it was a zig, and you can tell by the deep hoof marks and the pull and the drag of the forefeet that this is a horse at full gallop. And if that were the case and you are behind, you would now be 10-15 minutes behind if this pace is to be maintained.
In what direction do I gather he's heading? Is he heading towards the town?
No.
All right. Is he heading north, east, west, or south? Or the other four?
Heading straight up, like into the sky, galloping straight at this. No, I am actually doubling back. I'm heading back in the direction we came at a pace.
All right. I'm gonna head back to camp.
Just for the record, although I do not sleep in armor, I do sleep on top of my sword in that way that soldiers are taught to sleep on their weapon, just in case.
It's a good thing you just clarified that, because I need everyone... No, I'm kidding. It's fine.
Yeah,
roll for
surprise.
initiative.
Deuce is back.
Yeah, Dusa, you return back to camp. Everybody is still asleep. Your earlier awareness roll, you don't see anything that would indicate any disturbance in the camp.
Did Aris take all his things?
Did.
However, my sleep roll and stuff is still there. But I've taken all my swords, my bow, everything like that.
So Tuso will reach into his pocket and draw out that vial of white honey, and he's gonna put some in that bedroll. And after doing that, he'll climb back up into the tree and keep an eye out.
Okay.
Also some itching powder?
I don't have that, unfortunately, unless I can find some poison ivy somewhere, maybe. Yeah. Put some in there too.
Alrighty. And as that is placed, we will ride back the way you came. Does everyone else take 5 for a second? Aris, as you are riding the horse with no name, listening to your every cue and command, as the breeze has kicked up and the night air is cool, a little bit too cool, the chill now with the sun gone, a reminder that winter is just around the corner. But for right now, as you are riding, you feel the pull in your chest. You feel the awakening inside your own skin. And for a moment, you see as your hands hold pommel and rein, you see a pair of delicate, almost blue transparent hands flex out of the back of yours and kind of curl around your own hands. What are we doing?
Aris spurs the horse on even faster. And as he does, just under his breath, probably something stupid.
Is it dangerous?
Of course it is.
Good.
Other than that, he's quiet for the rest of the ride. He needs to conserve his energy. He has a lot of stuff to do in a very short amount of time.
Well, as you are riding, again, every so often, as if shifting inside you, you see this very thin blue arm come out from your forearm, your bicep, reaching and pointing, and you would hear a voice, "I know that star."
Which one? He
And
says conversationally.
you would see an arm come out of your own arm and point to the northwestern horizon. That one with the bit of blue.
Do you recognize that? Do you navigate by it?
I remember.
What do you remember?
I saw it here.
I got us a boat.
And with the mention of the boat, and I love everybody. I'm going to let them listen in on this because they're allowed to.
Damn it.
Yeah. No, they can. You all can listen in on this, but this is a bit of a metadata here, but I want you to be able to experience this.
That's fair.
As you're riding, and at the mention of there being a boat, where once an arm was reaching out from your shoulder and pointing at a star, its long, thin limb pointing with its finger, you feel a complete pull from your back as the figure moves from inside your body to the outside, and you feel the arms wrap around your midsection. You're used to the light pressure, the insubstantial weight, but after this amount of time, You can tell that she is holding you very tightly as she rides behind you. And you can see as the hair that looks like it's constantly underwater, it floats beside your face, and you realize she has rested her chin on your shoulder. A boat.
I take her hands, her arms, and I wrap them around my waist until I just hold on tight. The boat comes at a cost, and I'm gonna have to, I don't have a lot of time to do this.
How can I help you?
You already did. You saved Wim. You helped me bring her down. But without that ring, she's gonna be back. By the time the sun peaks tomorrow, she'll be back. And look, I don't get along with a lot of people, okay? But Ezran is Ezekiel's. He's his father, and Ezekiel meant a lot to me.
Then
I'm gonna fix this.
Then he means a lot to me.
I reach back and I will take her hand and probably almost like clasp it like that, but I imagine our fingers kind of move through each other.
You feel that movement behind you, and from the shoulder that her chin was perched upon, you see her head snake beneath your right arm as she comes up and reverses her position in the saddle to sit facing you, and you can still see the night and the ride through her and beyond. You can see the top of the ears of the horse with no name. I like it when it's just us.
I'm trying to keep it just us. But I'm running out of places to run. Tears.
And this time Tears points with her left arm, because she has changed positions, again to that blue star. I remember that. That's the first thing I remember.
I slow my gallop for a moment. Give my nameless horse a moment to recuperate. And I will sort of pull off the trail a little bit, because as much as I understand that, like, this is a really stupid thing to be doing right now, because if anyone sees, they're gonna have questions. But I don't begrudge her that. I know she gets lonely, so I pull off the path for a moment, let the horse rest for a second, and just sat on the horse. I put my arms gently around her and I say, I think the sorceress knows where we need to go. She knows where the other side is.
By the sea.
Yeah. I'm
And
hoping you'll remember that too.
you see Though ethereal, you can read the expressions on Tears' face as if she were as solid as Wim or Dusa, Ezran, Baron. And you see concern. What happens when we find it?
I will keep you safe. It won't be like last time. But you tell me if you feel it. If you feel that compulsion, you let me know.
She nods, and her hair, when she nods, her hair stays and waves as if it's underwater. I will.
We've still got a long ride, and one of us needs to sleep. And I will pull her close and very gently give her a kiss on the cheek, and then pull her back inside me as we merge forms. And I imagine it's almost garish because her legs almost revert and bend backwards to sort of fit in my form. And I take a moment to shake, and for a second, Aris has very short hair, but there's this long hair that floats as if it's underwater, which fades back into his neck. And his first breath that he gives out is ice cold, like fog.
And at that last minute when the hair is shaking and Tears' face is bleeding into yours, an act that you all have done countless times, just as she is backing into your face, she lifts her tongue out and licks the top of your lip as she disappears inside.
Aris almost would blush. Not quite, but almost. And, all right, you nameless bastard. I have to see my friend's ex-wife. And I spur my horse hard as I can, and I'm going to ride hell for leather until I get back.
And with an explosive shit, the horse with no name takes a good 10 seconds to respond to the command before relieving itself, shaking the tail, and then taking off when it deems itself ready to run. But run it does, and it runs true. And as you retrace your steps, the hours begin to bleed by. Dusa would know that Aris has not returned as midnight goes into the early morning. But you can see the look of what once was Ezran's land creeping up. The pillars and markings that were the edge of the territory come into view. And as soon as you pass into them, you're still several hours from the homestead, but as soon as you pass into the land of Ezran, you hear Tears say, "We can do it here."
I take the reins and pull them back hard to slow the horse. Kick one foot from my stirrups, jump down, and leave my bow probably with the horse and pretty much everything except my swords and other various tools of the trade. And I will walk into off the main path, find somewhere a little bit more secluded where I won't immediately be stumbled upon. And I will take out my blade. And there's a small smile for a moment as I take my blade and I stick it in the ground. And then I take my other blade and I stick it in the ground. And I look at them just there, remembering how long they have rested. All right. This is for Ezekon's father.
She will be weak.
Let's hope so.
have her dust.
I will reach into the bag and take out the dust of her, and I will find a small spot on the ground where I can clear away some of the debris. And in clumps and chunks, as it's frozen, it falls down into sort of like a cluster. And I will gather them together, and I will take my silver sword and I will thrust it down, breaking one of those chunks, and just stand there holding the blade, holding the hilt of the blade.
At this point, Tears would pull freely from you, whereas before she sort of helps by extending an arm or a hand out from your own. But as soon as the silver comes out and the dust is kind of broken, she again pulls out from your back and walks with that eerie bounce of somebody that's moving beneath the waves as her hair bounces and then floats and then bounces and then floats. As she begins to look around with those wide, bright eyes of hers. She is coming.
Pick it up. Hold my blade in my hand for a moment. I, Aris of Gesso, of the Witcher School of the Viper, sentence you to rest for the love of a son, for the love of a husband, but a hatred of silver. I call you. And I'll spin the blade once, hold it out in a defensive style, slide the meteorite dagger into my other hand. Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough.
Where before there was that wail of grief absolute, of rage and torment, there is simply a puff, not a gale, not a wind, just a breath. And there in the moonlight, a woman appears, ethereal like tears, and her head is down, and she looks up at you.
Will you go peacefully?
She says nothing, but you hear Tears as Tears says, "She is ready. She wishes to see her son." And you see the woman that you saw the bastardization of, the Wraith. You see the beautiful woman that she once was, but she drops to her knees. But it is not the drop of a mortal. It is the slow descent, the slow, almost genuflecting of a mother as she kneels down on the land she has haunted for 2 centuries. And she moves her head back, exposing a long neck. And Tears floats beside you with that underwater bounce. She is sad.
I walk towards her, stance slightly less defensive, but still ready, and I will draw close to her. let the dagger back to my sheath, and I will offer up one hand to her.
The eyes roll, and the neck turns back down, and you can see the confusion.
Your husband was a noble. You are a noble still, and a noble will not die on their knees.
She reaches up for it.
We'll take her hand. If she doesn't try anything tricky, I will help her.
As you reach forward, Tears grabs your wrist. And looks at the woman across from her, and Tears replaces her hand instead of yours. And there's a slight smile across Elizabeth's face, but she takes it and rises.
Elizabeth Ralstillen, I release you. And I take the sword and I swing straight for her throat.
Like a flame through steam. No screams of pain, but no whispers of joy. She's just gone. And Tears looks at you with those large eyes. She's gone. And then she points there into the sky. And you see a star in the distance. She's there with him.
I make a mental note of exactly where the star is, going so far as to take a moment, place my sword away, and this is not much when it comes to writing, but he will jot down the constellation that encompasses that star, so he can show Ezran where his family now rests. And then, wasting no more time, he mounts up, tired from not having slept yet, and we have to get back.
And the horse with no name, who is pissed that the ride is not over, takes a second before responding to your commands. But Tears takes a second before rejoining you and camouflaging herself beneath your flesh to enjoy the ride. She's quiet for a while. And as you all pass through the border of what was Ezran's kingdom, you notice that the marking stones that had stood for centuries begin to crumble as you ride past them, until they are just so much stacked sand, and that little breath catches it and wipes it from the earth. And still Tears stays and holds on to you. And again she puts her chin on your shoulder and says, "Will that happen to me?"
That's your choice. Not one I force on you. That is why you must remain hidden.
If we go together.
hand in hand. I owe you that.
If we get separated, meet me there. And she points towards the blue star.
I reach back and just for a moment, brush a finger through her hair. We won't be separated.
She takes a while. Okay.
And a little begrudgingly, Aris will bring her back within him. And he places a hand on his chest, and it's almost a twofold gesture. He places a hand on his chest, but also feels that medallion around his neck. Suddenly falls silent, no longer humming, knowing she's hidden. And he will ride the rest of the way.
And the valiant horse with no name carries the couple back with swift speed and fleet hoof. Dusa, as sun breaks, you would see in the west a single rider approaching.
I'll watch him approach.
I am not subtle about it. I'm caught. I know I'm caught. I brazen it out. I am also very tired, so I don't really have the energy in me to be subtle about it. I just ride up, and I will slow, signaling for you to ride back with me.
Ride of shame.
Yeah, pretty much.
I'm not riding. I'm on a tree.
Oh, right. Yes.
And I'm looking down at you from that tree.
Kick my leg over. Tie off my horse. Couldn't find any firewood. And I walk into my tent.
And I wait for him to come back out.
I will go in and I will try to rest.
Well, this is quite literally that horrible moment that we've all experienced where you realize that you've been out. And when you're coming home, everyone else is starting the next day. And you realize that you too have to begin that next day, despite the actions and the choices that you made mere hours before. And so for Eris, as you go in and attempt to get some rest, it is almost like a pitched pendulum. You swing in, everyone else wakes up and swings out as the hustle and bustle of a camp is being sacked and placed back onto horses. And the rest of you realize that there's one tent still pitched.
Well, and Ezran has an idea. The idea to sort of get our young Eris awake, he will make some food and over the fire, and hopefully the smell of fresh meat will rouse our young lad.
Aris is unfortunately a very light sleeper, so when everyone gets up, he probably gives it about 10 minutes before he realizes that he's not going to be able to get any rest, and he doesn't want to hold everyone up. So when Aris emerges, like he looks like hammered shit. He looks like a bag of smashed arseholes. He is just, he gets sorry, he gets up and he
No, please elaborate.
I'm really not clear how bad he looks. I feel like you should tell us more.
yeah.
I feel like there
Some of those monster hunts I've been on, not conventional ones.
What about the poison ivy?
So
Do
you,
I also have a rash?
so you would lay down.
Have honey and poison ivy.
Yeah.
Last time I checked.
And it's just super uncomfortable. And you're a witcher. You know what you see and what has been done. And though your hands aren't red, you have been caught.
I come out. I take my entire sleeping roll, and as Ezran is cooking breakfast, I say, you mind?
Of course not.
I take, like, the pan or whatever it is he's using to cook over the fire, move it to one side, and drop my entire sleeping roll on the fire, and then grumble something to myself and go over to the horse and begin to negotiate continued travel with the horse. Like, quietly, just like, I know. Yes.
Why'd you do that?
I just turn and look at Dusa as he's the only one who was awake.
Eris, I'm very grateful for you saving my life. But I don't trust you. And Dusa will start putting away his stuff.
Well, good fucking morning to you too.
Yeah, it's a wonderful morning.
I have made victuals so that we might break our fast. Come, gentles, let us break bread together as friends.
Traveling companions.
All right. I will walk over and you know how, like, God, checks are just not a thing anymore. But remember when checks were a thing? Like, I will go into my book, which is just a notebook of, like, a few idle sketchings and stuff. And when offered food in exchange for Ezran, I will hand him what is probably 6 dots on a bit of paper with, like, vague lines that probably mean very little. And I just hand that to you.
You have my thanks, Lord Eris. Pray tell, what is this?
Roll awareness for me, Ezran.
I shall, verily. But what is it? $19.
Is that with your +2? It doesn't matter.
Yes.
Okay. With 19, as you look at this, it takes you a second, and it's almost one of those things where you look at it and kind of move it a little bit on a plane, shifting the dots, and only the ruler of a realm that has looked at a map would realize that these constellations form the border of your prior kingdom.
Lord Eris, what is this? Why do you give me this sky map?
It's where your wife and your son are. At peace.
Can they be at peace when those who killed my son those who betrayed him yet still live, and my wife still lurks as that thing?
She's at peace. It's done.
How do you know?
Because I went and fixed it.
And why'd you go all alone?
Because it needed to be done.
Could have asked any of us.
Yeah,
If I could help you.
Look,
You could have been
Ezra
ambushed
and-
again.
Yeah, I could have done. But I wasn't, and I'm back, and it's done. Anyway, Lusa kept watch. Thanks for that. Slept real easy knowing you were watching over.
Lord Eris, you have allies who wish to see you well. And you have my eternal thanks. And that is on my word.
Wim will look right at him, right in his eyeballs. Do it again, I'll break your fucking arm.
Ezrin recently reminded me that every once in a while, family's something worth giving a fuck about.
Words you should take to heart.
And he hands Eris like a half a roll of bread with some meat and liquid, right? So it's sort of like a bit of a stew for the morning. And he hands you this half, and he sort of makes these halves of loaves of bread with stew for each one and hands them out.
Thank you, Your Highness. Out of curiosity, exactly how far from here is this caravan muster point?
But a few hours?
So Eris can get some extra sleep then?
Aye.
I'm a bit puzzled. How did you put her to rest without the ring, Eris?
Skill.
Wow. Bravo.
You all can ask for rolls at any time. Just throwing that out there.
Hey, this is Witcher stuff. I don't know about it.
I love how it might come down to roles between the three people who are really shit at discerning emotion. So like I imagine your insight will be terrible, but my deception will probably still be worse. Like,
Right,
I'm really bad at this.
I see a lot of like 8s versus 10s, you know?
Would I though be able to roll intimidation on my arm breaking comment?
Ooh.
I'd be okay with that.
Yeah, you can roll intimidation, but I will also allow human perception from Aris to see whether or not it's full of shit. So yeah, human perception from Aris and intimidation from Wim.
Oh, ooh.
I'm so sorry you guys can't see that. That's a 5 and that's a fumble. So
are you?
That is a -2.
You can only go to 0. Let me make sure that you're.
You can't go below 1.
It's not whispered either. Huh. Okay.
Oh really? It should. Oh yeah, it's not ticked as whispered.
I think you took the tick off, but I don't know.
Okay, yeah, so it was really bad. It was so bad that with a 19 versus a 0, as far as like in verbal combat, this is like a critical hit. We're gonna play it off like this: is that Eris, you would hear in your mind, "I wouldn't fuck with that one."
And then, with eyes that you are familiar with, you see layers of things behind it.
Are we really gonna do this now? It's hardly a fair fight.
The conditions are clear.
Master Wim, handing him breakfast. Breakfast.
And some juice and some.
Look, I'm not always the best at this. Riding with people. I'm better on my own, even if I am with people, if that makes any sense.
Mm.
But I came back.
Better by myself too. But that's not the situation we're in. We're responsible for each other.
And I'm being hunted, so I don't like people disappearing in the night.
You're not the only one who's being
Maybe I'd be
hunted.
safer traveling alone.
Then fuck off.
Fine.
Gentles.
He starts
We are-
mounting.
You know,
Maestro
gentlemen,
Dusa,
Your Highness, don't worry about this. It's really easy. I can always find them anytime I want.
Master Dusa, we have been brought here by Ezekon of Kreve, Adelbert, and your own words said that we have been brought together for a reason. There are forces large enough that wish us ill. We should not wish each other ill.
Question about your relationship with Ezekon. Do you sneak off in the night when you would work together?
Yeah.
Tell him to fuck off?
Yeah. Doesn't mean he wasn't one of the finest men I ever knew.
Can you at least make a conscious effort to try to communicate?
I was trying to do the right thing.
I know that. No one's arguing that.
And why'd
It's
you have to go do
practice-
it alone? That's a question.
Because we still have places to be.
And we're stronger when we go there together.
We're stronger when we're not all exhausted or late.
It could have been two. It didn't have to be one.
It could have been all of us. It could have been none of us. Could have been easier. We could have done it right then if you kept the ring in your hand.
Well, we all make mistakes, don't we?
I'm not disputing that, Wim.
The difference is me dropping the ring didn't immediately put us in danger. When you go off by yourself, the chances of survival dip. Think through this. Just try.
If you're going to break my arm, I'm going to hinder us even more. And that means we're going to get there even later.
No one's going to break anyone's arm.
Who asked you?
I would like to remind you all, gentlemen, of a very important factor. We are all about to meet an individual who probably doesn't like at least half of us. Can we focus on our anger and displeasure on dealing with not dying in the near future? And meanwhile, Master Eris, I would like to remind you that the whole reason we're on this, dealing with this problem, is because Ezekon of Kreve was murdered. And he wasn't by himself at the time. He made the mistake. He didn't call for help in advance. He waited. And while I'm sure you're very capable, you've lived this long, and I saw your hand with the sword. So was Ezekon. You're always better with someone at your back. So, can we get over the pissing contest? And if you really want to take him out and measure, your swords are right there. I'm sure you can take a moment and do it. We have other things to focus on.
That's what I've been saying.
Take it to heart then. Because while Wim will just break your arm, I'll do a whole shit ton more to you.
Mistress Moran just hands her the breakfast.
Thank you, Your Highness. I do appreciate it.
I'm gonna let that one go, because honestly, I'm tired. But if anyone actually wants to throw down, I'm standing right here. If not, this is done, and I'd like to be moving on with it.
All right. Is that a challenge?
All right, let's do it right now.
And Master Dusa, breakfast for you as well.
Dusa will take his breakfast and turn his back to this man.
Wim, could you give me a hand up to my horse? I'm still moving very stiffly, and I don't want to break any of the stitches that I've put in my side.
Done. The time for words is over.
Thank you. I appreciate your assistance.
And he takes a square stance, has his arms wide open, takes his right foot back, raises his fists.
Reach up, take the buckles, unbuckle my swords from my back, square up to him.
Is this necessary, gentlemen?
It's fine. Long time coming, eh?
Come on, free.
All right.
Is this wise?
Muttering to myself just quietly. This is a long time coming. I will step up to him, offer him a hand to shake.
You issued the challenge. Now you want to shake my hand.
You're right. Who has time? And I just snap a punch straight at him.
Alrighty, here's how we're going to do this. I am going to allow you to roll you can roll a reflex attack. I'm assuming, correct me if I'm wrong, friends, we're doing non-lethal damage here. So,
100%.
Okay.
For me, at least. I'm speaking for my own character.
So, what we'll do is, strikes will be counted the same way that you would apply one with your sword. So a reflex versus a dodge. If you really want to add some stank on it, I'll let you roll like an athletics too. And then
Can I roll brawling? Because I have brawling.
Yeah, if you have brawling,
And I know Wim has brawling as well. So
then brawl your asses off.
okay, this is gonna be 2 fast strikes against him for unarmed. So 20 22 and a 23.
So I'll have to roll dodge on those.
Dodge on one, athletics on another. I'm assuming that these are two fast strikes. I'm sorry, you can do dodge on both then.
All right. First one, 26. 24.
As the punches come in.
All right, and then was that your go?
That's me. And then light on your feet still.
Be surprised. All right. Same two in. Wow, there's a lot of headers.
Yeah, brawling should be right by your swordsmanship. Young Witchers, yeah. A 25 and a 25. So, as the two Witchers throw air, the air around them is taking a horrific beating. But the two Witchers are toe-to-toe, having not felt any contact.
Like a
for his... Aris actually chuckles for a moment, and as that second swing comes in, he's gonna like try and basically grab, just for flavor, like try and grab Wim's arm and just backhand him to the face. For a... Where are we? Let's go for a... No, that's, yeah. So that's 1. And that's 2. 24, 23. I am not as good at you in hand-to-hand, it seems.
It's all in the dice, homie. Critical dodge.
That gets you away.
All right, and then here's for the second one. 22.
Okay, so one of them is actually going to hit here.
Does Wim notice?
You should have a punch damage.
I do.
Okay, then that is the damage upon which you do as you strike Wim in the face.
Also, does that count as a cold shot?
No.
When we're brawling, I'm assuming it's bare knuckle fighting and no one's punching anybody in the breastplate. So.
Oh god. So that'd be punch for a 3.
You take 3 damage as the first strike hits, as Aris is able to slip the jab and tag you a bit.
And then going in the same direction, he's going to reposition himself and try to come back with like a left hook. Let's go for a strong strike.
Okay, this one's at -3 then, but you get double damage if you hit.
You know when your friends have gotten into a big bar fight and the best thing you can do at that moment is to move things out of the way? So this is one of those moments where like fists start flying and it's like moving things out of the way, putting out the fire so no one falls into the fire pit. There's a lot of I have 2 drunk friends fighting. Let's minimize badness as much as possible in the background.
Move the Pokemon cards to the side.
Right.
Yeah, move the Pokemon cards to the
remember,
side.
this is a nerd party. So as Eris, as you hit and find purchase, you see Wim just wind up and telegraph a huge swing coming your way. You're able to dodge beneath it. You've had your exchange here. Are you continuing?
What is the grapple feature? How to grapple?
Special move brawling, I think.
Let me read right here. Grapple. You can grab hold of a target. While grappled, a target cannot move away from you and takes -2 to all physical actions. If you're trying to perform this against Wim of Gesso, think of something else.
It says that in the rule book.
It's right here. Artalsorian says it. Stalwart,
Okay,
Stalwart Initiative will be able to tell you whenever they get their PDF.
I'm gonna switch it up, and as that haymaker comes in, like trying to take my head off with a swing, I'm going to try and duck under it, swing round, and axe kick him. Because screw this. So I will also go for call this a strong strike. But
Okay, it's -3. That's all.
Yep. And I'm spending a point of luck on this. I really want to hit him. That's a 19.
A 19 with this.
Whew. Here comes the pissing contest because I'm going to spend 2 points of luck on this dodge.
And Ezra's just going to say to Varan, loud enough that they might be able to hear it. It is a shame that we are using all of our resources as we walk into a potentially dangerous situation.
Does he get anything for beating me by like an unreasonable quantity?
No, it's great, but the thing is, you would have to fumble for there to be a problem. So, criticals on defense doesn't really... I will allow you both to roll an awareness at this point, and I'm going to give whatever I'm making you roll for to Dusa and Ezrin, but I will explain it after you all roll. Okay, hold on, let me see. Yeah, you don't notice anything. However, Dusa and Ezrin, as you are standing there watching, you realize that the ground beneath their feet is slowly turning into ice, and the ice is starting to reach for both Wim and Eris as if it's ready to grab them. But because of their dancing, bobbing, and weaving, the two combatants failed to notice that there is a frosty development beneath your feet.
I'm just going to keep moving a little bit away. Start packing some stuff up, just
going to go sit in the field.
Just away from...
And try to enjoy his breakfast.
Ezrin and Dusa walk off. They're sitting there talking, the news of the day and whatnot. Okay, so who's up
I will
next?
give a tip of the hat to Varan as this is all happening.
All right, so that would mean that, Billy, you're up, bud.
I'm gonna return with critically dodging. I want to try to reposition myself and try to grab under his left arm where his tricep connects to his shoulder.
Are you attempting to grapple here?
Right. Okay.
It's the moment when the world suddenly vanishes. Just, shit.
Ooh, lucky you. Fumble. All right, where's that fumble button? There we go.
That takes it down to a 15.
I can still fumble. What is it? So it's dodge is... Okay, right.
Yeah, you can still do dodge here. This is still an attack. He didn't get you.
Okay. For flavor here on a 24, can I allow him to start to pick me up and then just try and straight punch him in the face as he lifts me up and almost like I'm up in the air and then bang?
Yes, and for flavor too, this is exactly what happens. He grabs you as he begins to lift you up, but you feel an odd sensation around your feet, and for a second you don't go when he lifts you, but you hear a crack as something gives away. You're not sure exactly what that was, but go ahead and launch your attack.
I stop, in which case, as he lifts me up, I turn and I stop attacking Wim entirely. What was that?
It looks like you have an ice boot on right now, and the entire area in about a 5-yard circular radius from the two of you is frozen fucking solid.
Then with that dodge, I will just push off, turn my back entirely to Wim, point at Varan, and... What the fuck?
You already
And if-
delayed. You already delayed us by being late and running off, and now you're delaying us even further. So, if you would like to show up late to a meeting with the woman who signed the death warrant for Ezekon of Kreve, I'm happy to let you. But I have places to be and
Does
times
Wim-
to get.
Does Wim hit me while this is going on? Because this will determine how much of this conversation I hear.
This is true.
He hears. He doesn't move in to strike once you turn your back, but he's waiting. You can hear his breath.
Wim has you in the Johnny Castle right now, just holding you up.
Well, methinks this is enough. Gentlemen, we should be on, and I'm going to make this a nice verbal excitement. I suspect I have better persuasion and or leadership than they have.
Are we entering
bad.
verbal combat? Non-lethal verbal combat now? Let me turn to that section of the book. Hold on. Lord Almighty.
Just need to let this go.
Yeah, that's the running gag in the chat. All right, let's.
'Cause I've had the time of my life, is all I'm saying.
Right. What are you trying to do here? Are you trying?
I would like to use my leadership to get them to knock it off. They've had a couple blows. They've proved their machismo, and now we should move on because we have to do that.
Roll your leadership then. As this is a non-verbal attack against who, or a verbal attack against who?
The two of them.
Okay.
These two youngins, as it were. 20.
Okay, I need you all to roll me, I believe, what is the check?
Resist coercion?
Yes, it is resist coercion.
Yeah. I need you to...
I didn't add the 2. I didn't add the 2, so it's a 20.
Ezrin, did you add the 2?
I did.
Okay. All right, so I need you to roll a d10 plus your empathy as Eris's resolve takes a hell of a beating.
Okay. Roll 1d10 plus my empathy, which is 16.
You lose 16 of your resolve. As much like a child chastised in school, you don't see the error of your ways per se, but you think you may have, you can think what you'd like. Agency-wise, you feel yourself...
Aris is really angry for a moment because he's just like, I fucking went and did this for you, and now you're chastising me. And then
Both
like,
of you?
and then like, his head cools a little bit, and he just... I am not trying to delay anyone. I am happy to ride tired. I can sleep when we get there. You are all the people who are delaying us. I anticipate my neck broken from behind.
And I'm assuming that the words don't sink into me because I'm...
You hear them.
upset.
Right.
Good Master Wim. It is finished.
Only if he gives up, or I whoop his ass. Them's the rules.
Can you continue to whip his ass if he can't move?
Yes?
I'd look down and make sure you can chew that again.
Me to look down at my feet. I don't even. Can I sense, judging by if Aris's boots are in? Can I attempt to break out of the ice? What's the save on that?
You can. You have to roll athletics, but I'd let you know this: you'd have to put Aris down to do so, because it's like you're in ski boots that are clipped into the world.
Yeah, I've got Aris side. Yeah, I don't need to move.
Well then, I'm going. Have a pleasant day. And she
Say-
goes and gets on her horse.
As she walks away, Wim will casually go, "Safe travels, Corset."
Just a question. When the punches happened, I imagine there's punches to the face. Does that mean there was a little bit of blood?
I mean, I punched Wim in the face, but he hasn't hit me yet.
Has Wim been bloodied?
I don't think.
Probably not.
Yeah, I'm not sure Wim's a bleeder. I don't think that. Maybe.
Like there was like a single drop of blood, and Wim just glared at it, and it hurried back into the wound and just closed it. Like it was like a western when they all close the doors when like gunfighters walk into town.
If that being called a corset Varan turns,
Oh no.
and you haven't seen her do this before. She gestures with her offhand, and the staff comes into existence. That very nice frost fang staff with the beautiful blooming dripping ice off of it.
Ooh.
I think you need to change your state of mind, Master Wim. You seem a little angry. You should maybe calm down a little bit. Can you roll
Looking
resist
for
magic?
I sure can.
You know I can.
I'm gonna put 2 luck into it.
Hold on. I want to be fair, and I don't want to just whisper these, so I'm going to show.
We're gonna kill each other.
Episode 5, everybody. Series finale, right?
24.
Okay.
I rolled low.
All right.
Episode 6. Many pyres. Many pyres.
And this is gonna be me on the harp. On the lyre. I've got another death song. Here's another one.
You're like sleep deprived because you've had to write so many funeral dirges.
24.
Goes to the defender.
It does.
Did everybody remember to add their +2?
No. I added the other thing. I didn't add the +2.
Then for your donation, how about that silver?
Ooh. Sorry.
Are you though?
I mean, she just wants you to calm down.
There's like a song about that.
Literally.
I would
She
like
literally is just making you calm down.
So agency-wise, this is an effect. So much like taking a shot from a sword or a punch from Eris, this is a punch to the rage. And for a moment, the rage or the intent to fight has suffered a bit of a cooling off. So play that as you will. That's RP for you, Bill.
Mhm.
So, and like, how does this look? Like, how do you? Is there like a force? Is there something?
Literally, you just see the staff glow, and from her, there's almost nothing. She just gives you a look in the eyes, and it's like, you should calm down a little bit.
But
We need to go.
what if I'm not looking at you? What happens?
Same thing.
It's
You
same
use your
thing.
Gaze. Okay.
It's just this is mind manipulation. And she's
So-
just making you feel like it's technically euphoria, but she's just going for the calm the fuck down. As in, break the rage kind of thing.
Wim put me down, or am I still in his arms?
So fighting has become stupid and pointless, and he suddenly thinks that we are wasting time, but he's still got a thing. He's not angry about it, but he lightly tosses Aris maybe a meter away.
Aris lands, draws one of his swords from the ground, walks on over to Wim, holding it down, and will take it and drive it down through the ice at his feet, freeing him.
Together, the two of you can chip Wim free.
I got heated. Part of it felt good. I did enjoy that, but
Of course. You still owe me a punch.
yeah. Let's perhaps try to find a better way. Problems. I know what you thought you were doing was right. I just worry about you.
You sound like a lean.
Yeah. Just let me know, okay? I can help. We're not all fools.
Will you just trust me that I have my reasons? And I'll do my best to play a little nicer.
It's not about playing nicer.
You know what I mean.
Say it again. Without stopping. Look into my eyes.
I'll do my best to be a little nicer in the future.
No, mean it.
You sure you don't want to just punch me?
I don't feel like it.
I will do my best to play a little nicer. And I won't vanish so often, alright? If I have to vanish, I'll give you a little bit more warning this time.
Thank you. Eat up. You can ride on my horse. I'll walk yours next to me. Take a nap.
Good luck, he's being an arsehole.
I'm good with animals. I'll talk to him.
Maybe you'll listen.
And he goes towards his horse and tries to conquer that objective.
No roll
I'll
needed. Your the horse with no name loves you, Wim. Nuzzles up against you. Agrees to walk pleasantly at your side. Nary a violent piss or an explosive shit in sight.
I walk over to Varen. Thanks.
You're welcome.
Don't ever cast any spells on him again.
I won't make that promise. Ever.
Then I'll make you this promise. You fuck with him. You fuck with me.
I'll make you this promise. Same promise I made Ezekon. You're all gonna live. In spite of your own bullshit.
Ain't you just a peach?
No, I'm really not. And I'm done being nice. So get on your goddamn horse and let's get gone.
Finally glad to have your permission. And I will walk on over towards Wim's horse. And as I get there, I pat Wim on the shoulder and lean in and just say, I think she likes you.
You've never seen this reaction on his face before. His eyebrows are flexing crazy, trying to comprehend how, why, what layers is this bullshit? Is this real? I don't know.
Ezra has cleared up the camp. Everything is and like packed up all the stuff on the horses. Like he's everything is all ecologically safe and ready to go.
And as everybody has calmed down to the point of exchanging words and pleasantries, I'd like to turn to the person that I'm pretty sure is still pissed. JF, how's Dusa doing?
Adusa has finishing up his breakfast. He'll come back to camp and get his horse ready without a word.
And you're all heading towards the clearing?
Mm-hmm.
Well, by the time you get there, several hours later, you see that Robert is positioned. His host, his group is behind him at a respective distance, positioned just like before, still astride his horse. You're not sure how long they've been there, but none of them have taken from the saddle. They're all still saddled. And they see you, and there's a kind of a nod from Robert as he waits for you all to get closer.
Would you like me to read the letter that Ezrin wrote for Kelhello?
Read it for us as you all are riding up.
It said, Mistress Kelhello, the Nightingale of the East and now Magus Regional of the North. This missive may come as a shock, but I have returned to the land of men after so long away, though it seems but a week to me. The land I have returned to is strange and unfamiliar, and I have need of your counsel, if you will give it. I miss you, and I long to see you again. I have so many questions that only you can answer. Grant me this wish, and follow Lord Robert of Sidaris to the caravan muster point to the west of the city, where we may meet and speak after so long. It may be hard to believe that 'tis I, but I beseech you to recall the song that you wrote and once taught me as initial proof. There was a story I heard told when just a child on mother's knee. I will complete it when I see you again, your heart, Prince Ezrin of Rylshillen.
And as you ride forward, you see that Robert is holding something that looks like a tube, like a manuscript tube. But I need you to make a human perception check.
I'm worried that you're like, he's bleeding and dying, or something terrible will happen. I don't know. Nervous. 24.
So this isn't something you would see with awareness, because it's not necessarily something that would strike anybody just looking at the scene as different. But because you did have some talking or some exchange of word with Robert, you realize that his carriage is a bit different. And whereas before the horse was turned to in a position of parley, one that you would remember as the horse being an extension of nobility, it is now turned in such a way not to indicate attack or aggression, but it's turned in such a way as if it was absently placed, as if Robert hadn't put it where it needed to be. And with that realization, as you look up, despite the chill that's in the air, you see a bead of sweat go down the outside of Robert's jaw.
I will put up my arm to hold before we get too close, i.e. into a space of, to the rest of the group, before we get to a space of ambush. Because basically I pull the hold up, and I call out, Your Grace?
This is all happening very quickly.
How fare thee well?
Dusa, roll an awareness.
This is like I bring us before we get into any kind of kill box, as it were.
Yeah, it's all happening very quickly here.
Yeah, you're well outside of you're even like barely within shouting distance if you yelled to them.
Oh, I forgot to add the +2.
Okay.
That's 7.
Let me just let me see. I'm gonna roll. Goes to the defender. Dusa, you're the only one that realizes that as you move and as Ezrin stops you all, you see a hooded figure walk right up beside your horse,
Right up beside my horse. Out of nowhere?
looking in the direction of Robert.
I'm going to wheel my horse around this hooded figure to see who it is.
The hood is low and deep, and as you wheel the horse around, even with your height upon the horse, you realize that this figure is huge.
This figure's huge.
Tall, maybe 6'5". I know but
Okay.
broad of shoulder, big of arm, bigger than Wim. And as you kind of circle and ride around, the hooded figure reaches up and pulls back the hood, revealing a shaved head and the eyes of a witcher. And with a squint at the sun that has captured those golden eyes, he says to your group, "I don't know if I would trust that one." And he points to Robert, "As you have just met Letho the Kingslayer." But that, my friends, is where we will end this session of Witcher Family of Wraiths. Yay!
Oh boy. Okay.
All right, friends. Business is about to pick up. I have a lot of people to thank, from the Legion for watching, the Legion for donating, Katrina bringing us Letho, Sphinx. We've got a bunch of things that are going to be happening next week. I cannot wait, as we have our Letho specific story that will begin. We're going to go around and talk to everybody, but I will let the group know that you also received a new quest. A small favor, I think, was what was suggested, but this one is actually called, let me make sure I get this right, A Wave Goodbye. And this is the one for Duke Aglaval. So let's go around and talk to everybody, and tonight let's start with Trooper. Trooper, my friend, how are you doing? Where can we find you?
I'm a little stressed, but in a good way. I just feel like this is a bad, when you're like, hey, that seems off, and then you're just waiting for a sniper. That's how I'm feeling right now. That's how I'm feeling. I'm waiting for a sniper who's going to deliver just love and happy thoughts. I am Trooper SJP, and I love playing with each and every one of these people so much. Every single person is amazing, and I am just honored to be able to play with them. And you can find me at Trooper SJP here on the Twitch, and I'll be streaming the conclusion of Cthulhu Confidential this Sunday. It was postponed because of sickness, 3 p.m., and that's 1 GM, 1 player, 1940s, Washington, D.C., Cthulhu Noir excitement. And you can catch me out there if you want. And you can find me at Academic Foxhole on Twitter. That's me, and I love everybody so much.
Thank you, my friend. As my commands have gone bye-bye, I will make sure I put your link up in chat the good old-fashioned way. Give me 1 second to make sure everyone knows exactly where to go to follow the wonderful Trooper. Boom, right there we go. Academic Foxhole, everybody, please follow as we jump straight up to the recently calm Wim. Wim, Billy, how are you doing, and where can we find you online, buddy?
I'm doing dandy. Man, I just want to say something about this group that I really, really love. With everybody included, this is very seamless. Like, the role play, does not stop no matter what happens. And I'm sure Greg is getting fucking dissertation in private messages from everyone, but it's so smooth. There's no break, and we can all read each other really well, and it's refreshing as fuck, and I love it. So all of you all, the amount of respect there's no ceiling for, and it's continuing to go up. So I love who we are evolving into. This story is very tense. things are going to get crazy. I'm really excited to see where it's going to go. If you can follow me on the internet at Bill of the Forest on the Twitters. Feel free to follow me or not. I don't give a fuck. And then Tuesday nights, you can find me on Simbaroom, a Simbaroom game on WebDM's channel, which is super fun. We had the first episode last night. Super stoked for that. That's fun. Dark Viking horror corruption world. It's so cool. Love it. And watch everybody else. Commit more of your time, Legion, to watching awesome streams. Thank you for being a part of this. Thank you for helping support and influence our story today. Thank you so much. And everybody on VOD as well. I'm done talking. That was rambling, but thank you so much.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you. And as we go to half kindergarten teacher, half ass kicker, Prax, how are you, my friend? And where can we find you online?
I'm doing okay. I'm okay. I had fun with that. I was like, I took my text Greg. I'm like, I give them one round and then I get into the middle of it. It's like, we have shit to do, y'all. But hey, as for me, you can find me on Twitter at Dear Jadalin, or you can see me hanging out in Twitch chat as Prexigorth as Meophoria. And I will be over tomorrow on Wandering DM for some masks campaign that's getting some interesting things happening with a bunch of people from the Legion, Pope, and Cleric. Bunch of really great things that are going on there. Friday for Cyberpunk Red, which is another Telstorian game, and I am the problem child in that campaign. It's great. It's an entirely different person for me to play. And then Saturdays, I'm the DM for Wandering DM for Vampire the Masquerade Nightfall, as things are getting interesting in New York and consequences of choices are starting to develop. But I'm also going to shill for Simon for Wandering DM for Sunday morning at 10 o'clock a.m. Eastern. They are doing a charity stream for Special Effect, which is they're a charity out of England that works to make adaptive materials for children and others who are physically disabled to participate in things like video games, but also in other ways as well. So they're going to do a Witcher game like they did a couple of months ago. This time they'll have Doug Cockle, who, if you play the Witcher video games, is a guy named Geralt. He's going to be there to play. Kelly Butler, the opera geek, she's coming back to play Triss. They've got B. Dave Walters and Johnny from Dicebreakers, and Sam Mustang Art is going to be there. So come, they're giving away prizes. I know a lot of interesting things because I'm one of the mods on that channel, so I know a lot of things that are going on backstage. But come and support a really great cause, and come hang out in the morning. So yeah.
Great stuff, great cause. It'll be a fun time over on Wandering DM. I strongly suggest everybody run over there and give. One of the most charitable giving communities I've ever been a part of. Blessed to be a part of it. Let's jump down to Josh. Josh, my friend, how are you doing and where can we find you?
Yeah, this was an episode. This is I cannot wait next week to turn around to Wim and just be like, see, you mentioned regicide, you have summoned the Kingslayer. This is on you, buddy. Like, this is all on you. But no, honestly, it was an amazing episode. So much stuff, lots of questions, lots of things going on. And maybe now I don't have to message Greg so many times when I'm asking Tears lots and lots of questions constantly. And I'm just like, he's like trying to DM something, and I'm just like, like finishing a book on tape. It's a lot. So super excited for more of that. As for me, you can find me at roleplayers_TV here on Twitch, or at roleplayers on Twitter. As for what I have going on, this Friday, day after tomorrow, I will be over on the amazingly wonderful Encounter Roleplay channel doing the Ghosts of Saltmarsh, and not the Ghosts of Saltmarsh, the Haunting of Seawall Orphanage, and I am so that's you will not catch me sneaking off in that. You will catch me sleeping with a bed light. as far away from anything, some shit happened to me like right at the end of the last episode. There was things on the horizon, and I'm playing me at the age of 16, and I am fucking terrified of horror. And I'm in a horror game run by the amazing Don and inspired by Stephen King and The Haunting of Hill House. So yeah, other than that, you can find me here on Wednesdays and over on Roleplayer's Twitch TV channel, where occasionally I will be streaming, including some Red Dead, hopefully in the next couple of days, which should be good. So, it's me.
Fantastic, my friend, fantastic. And finally, last but certainly not least, the Witcher who was deservedly pissed. JF, my friend, how are you? Where can we find you online?
He was pissed. I wasn't pissed. But no, that was a great episode. Double crits. That's me on Twitter. It was a great episode for roleplay. We had a pretty big battle the episode before, so this felt nice. I enjoyed all of it. I love the scene with Josh. That was awesome. Happy the witch is dead. The Wraith. That's a relief that we don't have to go back through, and with what happened to Dusa. That's a relief. Yeah, there was some fun there. I liked putting some honey in the bedroll. And just all those spontaneous things. Looking forward to next week.
Awesome, my friend. And I'm going to spill the beans a little bit on one of, it was a tough week for me, but I had a great comment that JF sent me. He sends me winners every week, and this was the winner from this week. When JF, what did you say? That your helmet was in all likelihood on your horse and you just hadn't put it on for the fight?
That's it. Well, that's none of that. That's definitely going to come up a bit later. Spoiler. But yeah. It's because I work where I work. We do have helmets, and I know for a fact that a working man does not put on his helmet. That's just a fact. So,
oh yeah. Oh, it's.
So I thought it was fitting. I thought it was fitting that it would be on his horse. Yeah,
absolutely. And like they're saying in chat right now, if you need art from this moment, there's very serious times, very cool times. You could pick Aris and Tears as they're riding the square off between the two. But I don't know. With the ice coming up in the background as Ezrin is just doing the typical bar fight stuff, like moving his beer and things and stuff slides by. But I think that I would pick Dusa riding back into camp being pissed and putting honey and poison ivy in the bedroll, because that's just like, it's like, that's how pissed do you have to be like, motherfucker? So
yeah, it was a prank.
I love it. Thank you all so very much. My name is Greg, Grimjack21502 on the Twitter, Tales from the Grim on the Twitch. Make sure that you join us for all of the fun things that we have coming up this Friday from 1 to 3. We have our Call of Cthulhu 7th edition ode to Bioshock called Rapture Below. It is very, very fun. We've got little sisters, we've got big daddies, and we've got all the splicers you could want. A fantastic cast is slowly going insane, and what other better way to spend and start your weekend than to jump into that. But please make sure that you are back here next Wednesday when we will have the return of Watchmen at 6 p.m. And then, of course, we have Witcher coming back around the horn at 8. Letho will be in next week. We may or may not have a guest in next week as well. Matt and Hawk are in the queue. We have one more guest position for this season. So if you have any intentions or want to do something, DM me, let me know. And I'd love to be able to get as many people in here as we can to play. But as time runs down, the Letho, make sure you're here next week, because I am so happy that Katrina donated for this. This is a good one that I thought we might miss. So I can't wait to send my fantastic witchers, sorcerers, and nobility with the Kingslayer for a bit of fun in the north. So everyone, as the campfire goes down, there is only one thing left to say. You can't always roll nat 20s, but you can always role play. Or have a wraith come out of you. Or, I don't know, put poison ivy and honey and shit in somebody's bedroll. We'll see you next time. Love you guys.